We all have our own nightmare boss stories, which frankly is sad, considering management can make or break a company. Love them or hate them, management is a crucial part of any company. They ensure things are running smoothly and help the company grow. At least, that's what they should be doing. But management tend to have big egos. They're abusive, incompetent, and focus more on themselves than others. Nightmare bosses, on the other hand, take this to a whole borderline illegal behavior. Unfortunately, there's no shortage of these appalling stories. So, we ask you, can you top any of these 25 nightmare boss stories? And yes, the mic hiatus continues, as does the reign of Tristan. Theme song.
"25.
A fair cover-up. One assistant was put in charge of constantly covering up the boss's affairs with 2 different women. She'd have to go and pick up extravagant gifts and send flowers along with book hotel rooms. He was even known to entertain these women at the office. The wife was never to know. Shocking.
24.
One employee was called into the boss's office because he smiled too much. His boss said that he just couldn't trust anyone who was always happy. The employee just smiled at him and left.
23.
Pushed to steal. One federal employee had a boss who encouraged him to help steal a computer for his daughter to take to college so he could save the money. When the employee refused, he was fired. Even though the employee filed a complaint, and it was later found that the boss was indeed stealing things, he wasn't fired because they didn't want to ruin his 25-year career. 25.
22.
Monster boss. One manager kept her team going through all the stress of the job by supplying them with Monster energy drinks. When one employee politely declined, he was strongly encouraged to get one. Once he did, he left it sitting unopened on his desk. When the manager saw it, he was called into the office and told his lack of energy was extremely distracting. He ended up being temporarily fired and rehired for a different department. His boss was fired for illegal stimulant use.
21.
Wedding crasher. One executive assistant had her boss show up to her wedding to ask her a question only she could answer. He was escorted out by police when he refused to leave. She quit before she left on her honeymoon.
20.
Home micromanagement. One employee was given permission to work from home 1 day a week. Little did she know, there was a catch. She was reprimanded for stepping away from her computer at home and was told she'd lose her at-home privileges if she didn't inform the boss when she had to walk the dog or make a cup of tea.
19.
Talk to the hand. One employee had her boss put their hand inches from her face to silence them in the middle of a meeting, in front of everyone, while answering a question that was addressed to her.
18.
Heartless. When one employee asked for time off as her grandmother was dying, she was told to stay and finish the day because she's not dead yet, so I don't have to grant you leave. She quit immediately.
17.
Internship. From hell. One manager refused to learn her intern's name. She didn't even attempt, and in fact, just called her intern whenever she needed to get her attention. She also tried to pressure her to drink at off-site team locations and told in-depth stories about her sexual exploits.
16.
Bathroom monitor. One employee recounts working in a busy call center type of environment. They were so busy that management actually had bathroom request buttons installed on employee computers. Anytime someone had to use the restroom, they had to press the button and hope the request was granted. Many times, it was declined.
15.
Cheap vibe. During a performance review, one employee was kept from a raise because the boss had an intangible vibe that the employee didn't deserve a raise.
14.
Coffee break. One personal assistant recounts a boss who always asked for his coffee really hot. After it was brought to him, he'd leave it sitting there for an hour. So of course, when he finally drank, it'd be cold. One day he went over to his personal assistant, said the coffee was like cat piss, and dumped the coffee directly into the assistant's inbox. What the heck? Oh my. That's awful.
13.
Swollen head. One employee slipped at work and hurt her ankle. Her boss told her to stop moaning and put her foot up and finish the invoices. 5 hours later, the boss finally had someone take her to the ER. Turns out she had broken her ankle. Surprise.
12.
Office space. One employee recounts how, in a fit of rage, his boss picked up a small printer and smashed it on the floor. While this employee left soon after, his coworker continued to endure abusive language until the boss was finally put on a temporary leave. I'm sure there's a printer joke in there somewhere.
11.
Harassment. One woman recounts a time when she was giving a presentation. Her hair was up in a ponytail, and when she turned toward the screen, she must have gotten in the CEO's way, because the next thing she knew, he grabbed her by the ponytail and moved her head. She quit a week later. Also, I cannot believe we used that pun. Except I totally can. It was decent.
10.
Stolen work. One journalist based in New York City had a boss who'd take her completed stories, publish them as his own, and then yell at her for not turning in enough work. That's the newspaper business, baby.
9.
When one boss needed the attention of her employee, instead of calling her employee's name, she'd throw things out of her office door to get their attention. She'd throw pens, staplers, cups, anything in her reach.
8.
Not faking it. Once an employee got very ill and had to be out of work. The boss was very indignant and called HR saying the employee was faking it to get out of work. After being harassed by HR, it was apparent the employee was not faking it. They finally got the respect they deserved after threatening to hire an attorney.
7.
Pants. One police officer ripped his uniform pants while tackling a drug dealer. When he requested a new pair, he received a written reprimand for destroying department equipment. Why? Because the pants he ripped were summer pants, and it was winter. That's cold.
6.
Scrooge. This one company held an annual holiday party where the employees would get a holiday bonus. After receiving a better offer for a different party, the boss canceled his own company's party and kept all the bonuses. All this only 4 days before the party.
5.
Yard work. Some bosses don't realize what a job description is. One employee was tasked with mowing the lawn around the office building, in her high heels and dress.
4.
Leaving notes, in odd places. One employee was sent to leave a note about work at the grave of a family member of a grieving employee. She'd been on leave for a couple weeks, and when she wouldn't answer her personal phone when the boss could call, he took to writing a list of questions only she could answer, and have someone leave it on the grave. What the hell?
3.
False generosity. You know when people are super generous and it turns out their generosity was just a way to control you? Back in the 19th century, American engineer George Pullman created an entire town just for employees and their families, complete with stores and schools. While that may sound awesome to some, he also paid people with his special money and could only be used in his stores. When he wasn't making as much money as he wanted, he cut wages but refused to lower rent.
2.
Drunken promises. One employee got called into the boss's office where she was told she was getting a raise. When she mentioned it to him the next day, he took it back and reminded her that he was drunk every afternoon, and anything he said afternoon couldn't be taken seriously.
1.
Chemo comfort. Or not. Chemotherapy isn't a walk in the park. At least, that's what I've heard. And because chemo and cancer aren't happy things, this one has to take the cake. This one employee was in the middle of chemotherapy sessions when her boss would repeatedly barge in on her chemo treatments to chat about work. Okay then. So, what are some of your nightmare boss stories? And you know what? YouTube could use a little more positivity, especially here. So what are some of your great boss stories? Let us know in the comments below or tweet your answers to us at List25. I'm sorry I'm not Mike, guys. Truly sorry. I will do better.
Enjoying our lists? Be sure to click that subscribe button on the bottom right and the notification bell so you don't miss out on new ones every Monday through Friday. Share them with your friends and help us consistently conciliate curiosity. And if you want even more lists, check out these videos here or just head to our website at list25.com. While you're there, make sure to join our newsletter for exclusive lists, prizes, and so much more. You really don't want to miss out on this.